Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I am Alex, and today I am sitting here with Emma in our studio in Columbus, Ohio.
Hello, Alex. I have to say, looking out the window, that gray Ohio sky is looking especially heavy today. It feels like it is going to snow again.
It definitely does. The wind coming off the Olentangy River is freezing. But honestly, that cold, quiet weather fits our topic for today perfectly.
I agree. Today we are talking about something very quiet, but something that carries a massive weight for so many people. We are talking about self-worth.
Yes, and more specifically, how easy it is to build our self-worth in the wrong places, especially when it starts depending entirely on other people approving of us.
Wanting approval is a very human trait. Nobody is completely immune to it. One slightly cold email from a boss and your entire emotional system goes into panic mode.
I understand that completely. You read that one message and replay it in your mind for 3 business days. It is exhausting.
Exactly. And living here in the Midwest, where people are generally very polite, that need for approval can become a trap. You want to be the nice neighbor, the helpful coworker, the perfect friend.
Right. I felt this deeply last year. We saw a lot of corporate budgets being cut across the tech and insurance companies here in Columbus. People were quietly terrified of layoffs.
That atmosphere of fear gets into your body, doesn't it? Even if your job is secure, you start performing. You try to be extra useful, answering emails late at night just to prove you are necessary.
Yes. And what terrified me was not just the fear of losing an income. The deeper pain was the fear of losing my identity. If that job disappeared, I felt like I would become completely irrelevant.
Because sometimes work is not just work. It becomes your proof that you matter. When your sense of worth lives inside your job title, any economic uncertainty feels like a personal attack.
That makes total sense. And how did this show up for you, Emma? Was it also tied to your career?
For me, it was different on the surface, but identical underneath. My trap was social situations. I used to leave social gatherings feeling entirely drained, and I never understood why.
That kind of fatigue usually means you are working too hard at something emotionally.
Exactly. I realized I was acting like a customer service representative for my friends. I was laughing too quickly, agreeing constantly, and managing everybody else's comfort.
You were trying to ensure that nobody felt awkward, which meant you absorbed all the awkwardness yourself.
Yes. And afterward, I would second-guess every sentence I spoke. Did I talk too much? Was that joke strange? I was not just talking. I was performing because I needed them to accept me.
So my self-worth was tied to being useful, and yours was tied to being liked. It is the same trap.
It is. We want to talk today about why this approval is so addictive. And there is an interesting scientific fact behind this, Alex. The brain processes social rejection in the exact same area that processes physical pain.
Wait, really? So when someone ignores you or gives you a cold reaction, your brain literally registers it as a physical injury?
Yes, neurologists have found that the anterior cingulate cortex activates during both a physical injury and social exclusion. That is why a lack of approval hurts so much. It is not just sadness. Your body feels physically unsafe.
That completely changes how I view this. When we feel insecure, approval acts like a painkiller. We fall back on compliments and praise just to stop the pain of feeling disconnected.
Exactly. But it is a very short-term painkiller. If you do not build your own internal stability, you are essentially living on emotional Wi-Fi. You are constantly waiting for a strong signal from someone else.
Living on emotional Wi-Fi. That is a brilliant way to describe it. One weak signal and suddenly you feel lost. So, what is the difference between confidence and self-worth?
Confidence is about your abilities. It asks the question, can I do this successfully? Self-worth is about your fundamental value. It asks, if I fail at this completely, am I still a person of value?
That is a much harder question to answer honestly. You can be incredibly confident in your career, speak well in public, and still have a very fragile sense of self-worth underneath.
Yes, I know many professionals in this city who dress perfectly and perform flawlessly, but they are terrified of being ordinary. They are completely exhausted trying to maintain that flawless image.
So confidence helps you perform, but self-worth is what catches you when you fall. If that foundation is weak, we develop habits that slowly destroy our peace. What is the first habit we need to watch out for?
Habit number 1 is people-pleasing. Saying yes when your body is screaming no. Softening your opinion so no one gets upset. You start believing that managing everybody's comfort is your full-time job.
And when you do that, honesty feels dangerous and resting feels selfish. You teach yourself that your own needs do not matter. What is the second habit?
The second habit is letting disrespect go too far. When your self-worth is low, you let people cross your boundaries because losing the relationship feels scarier than losing your self-respect.
That takes a massive toll on a person over time. It slowly erodes your trust in yourself because a part of you knows you are ignoring your own discomfort.
Exactly, and that leads directly to the third habit, constant self-doubt. Your internal voice turns into a harsh critic. You treat every minor mistake as proof that you are fundamentally flawed.
These habits all train us to look outward for permission to exist comfortably. If we want to change this, we cannot just try to be more confident. We have to rebuild the foundation. Where do we start?
It starts with something very simple but difficult to maintain. You have to start keeping small promises to yourself. If you say you will turn off your work laptop at 6, you actually turn it off.
That sounds very unglamorous, but I see the power in it. You are proving to yourself that your own word holds value. You are carrying through on what you promised.
Yes. Another crucial step is to stop over-explaining yourself. When you over-explain, you are subtly begging the other person to approve of your decision. A simple, "no thank you," is a complete sentence.
I struggle with that. I always want people to know my reasons so they will not be angry with me. It is hard to let that discomfort just sit there in the air.
And that is the third step. You have to let discomfort happen without treating it like danger. Someone being disappointed in you is uncomfortable, but it does not mean you are unsafe.
That requires a massive shift in mindset. If I feel bad, my instinct is to fix the situation immediately to remove the tension. Staying steady in the face of someone's disappointment sounds very difficult.
It is difficult, but it is necessary. And the final step is changing how you speak to yourself. It is not about forcing toxic positivity or empty affirmations. It is simply speaking to yourself with dignity.
Instead of asking, "Why am I so stupid?" you ask, "What happened here, and what do I need right now?" It is about offering yourself the same grace you would offer a good friend.
Exactly. When you start setting these boundaries, some people in your life might be taken aback. They are used to the version of you that always accommodated them.
I can see that. They liked the sweet, endless supply of energy you provided, even if it drained you completely on the inside.
But emotional strength is not about becoming cold or aggressive. It is just becoming steady. It is the ability to say, I can survive this awkward moment without betraying my own needs.
This is a brilliant point to emphasize. Self-worth is not built by ensuring everybody approves of you. It is built by staying connected to yourself when they do not.
Yes, and I want to add one more counterintuitive fact here. Studies show that people who have high self-worth actually experience more rejection than those who do not. Why? Because they do not hide who they are.
That is fascinating. Because they present their true selves to the world, they risk more disapproval, but the connections they do make are completely authentic.
Precisely. The goal is not to stop caring about people entirely. The goal is to care without collapsing. People's opinions will always change, but your fundamental worth needs a permanent address.
A permanent address. I love that. Emma, this conversation has been incredible. You have given us so much to think about regarding our own internal foundations.
Thank you, Alex. It is a quiet process, but it is the most important work we can do. Stay warm out there in the Ohio cold.